well. Last year at this time, you pretty much had everyone who I'd imagine had a good grasp on what you guys do, culture-wise, schematic-wise. You got some new faces this year. What challenge does that present for you?
Well, the good news is I feel like our freshmen are all they're all pretty focused. Like they all are. I mean, they're coachable because they're good kids, but they're coachable. I think they learn quickly. Like I feel like there's not. We're not going to have to hold their hand and move them forward and wait for them like we might with some freshmen. So I think that's good. And then like Brooke is really in her second year, but she's a fourth-year college player. We've got 3 freshmen who, and then everybody else is a third or fourth-year player, which is unusual.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty good, but we also lost key pieces. I mean, we lost a starting 5, a really good, 4-year starter at guard, and Lauren, who did a lot of things that most people don't understand how good she was and how much she impacted us even in practice. So, I don't know. It'll take us a while to figure out some things. I feel like we still have, especially with Jade out, we're playing a lot of 2-post line. We're going to have to play more 2-post lineups in practice than we're gonna play in games, which kind of uglies it up a little bit. But we'll figure that out. And just like I said, we don't have a back to the basket 5, but all of these guys can make threes, which Bree really couldn't do. So that kind of gives us a little bit more symmetry, maybe. Like we in some ways we play different when Bree was on the floor versus when she was off. And then just maybe knowing from the beginning that Sid is your point guard, because we've played her off the ball to start most years, and then we're like, God, she's really good on the ball and she makes really good decisions. Let's play her a little bit more at the point guard, and that's kind of been every year. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, let's just cut with playing her on the wing and play her, especially with Jade's situation, probably not being back for at least a couple months here. It makes sense. So that's good. And one of the things we got to do better this year is play Audrey and Jalen together in practice. Like we've played them against each other a lot in practice. Well, they're gonna, as the year went on last year, they, because of how Jalen developed, those guys were playing a lot together. Well, in some ways, it's great to play them against each other in practice because they're such good matchups. But we got to get to where we can play them together, and so then you have to figure out what does that look like in terms of challenging them, because that's why I like playing them opposite each other, but also we've got to have the continuity to play them together. So those are some things, just working, figuring out what even more we can do with Sid as a point guard, how to play Jalen and Audrey together in practice more. And then evaluating our freshmen versus our in newcomers, because I'd consider Brooks really a newcomer in some ways, so it's always messy, but it's definitely messier than last year because we just have we don't have quite as many pieces back.
With some new faces.
That's nice.
Give me, I guess, maybe take me back to when you were in their shoes, some of the freshmen or first-year player. What's the toughest part of the adjustment to just sort of get acclimated here?
I think especially for me, it's like the defense side of it. In high school, you can practically get away with not playing defense, and so I know that's something that they've been harping on them is a lot of the defensive side. But actually, I feel like when we all came in as freshmen, and there's so many of us that we were all like way down here, they seem to be up a little higher. So I'm really impressed with how far they are right now. So they seem to be handling it a little better.
Just you guys as veterans, what have you done to try to help them along? I mean, I know today's technically the first day of practice, but you've had time on the court with them.
Yeah.
I guess what have you tried to do to help bring them along?
Yeah, so I guess we had like this summer with them, and we would have kind of little meetings and just kind of like pull them off to the side and be like, hey, this is what he means, or just have them ask us questions. We had like a team meeting where we just talked about all our goals, like what kind of the coaches expect when we're at practice, this. And so basically we're just really open with them. We're like, if you have questions, like don't be afraid to ask us.
Now that you're into the routine of practicing on a regular basis, what's challenging about this part of the season? Like, is it kind of grueling, or like, I guess, what kind of describe what tests are awaiting you guys for the next month?
Yeah, I think all of us seniors are just really excited because it's like the last of everything. Right. So I think we were actually talking about that it's like, well, this is the last time I'm doing anything. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I love preseason because it's the last time. But I know for the freshmen, like, this is a really hard month, and we talked to them about it. Like, as long as you're giving effort, and like, you just got to push through it sometimes. But you know that at the end we have a lot of games, and that's what we're prepping for.
You did lose some leaders.
We did.
Has it been pretty natural for you and some of the other juniors? I guess now juniors and seniors kind of stepping into those roles, being a little bit more vocal.
For me, not so natural. Yeah. I think Maya is definitely someone that I've looked up to and kind of learned from her leadership skills, because I'm not really the type of person that's going to be like, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that, kind of like leading by example. And so that's something that they talked to me about that I had to work on. So